I believe that by the special grace of God, none of us is going to live here the same way that we have come in here. We're going to have a swell time. We're going to be so fed, so full. We're going to live here re-energized. Some of us say that October has been so full. I mean, a lot of full, but we're going to be more fuller. And this time around, we're going to be so much fuller of great things. Like, we're going to leave this place just ready to take on the world. So I'm just going to jump into what I have to teach us tonight first. And yes, I'm taking this session with amazing people. I'm going to talk about them at the end of my session so that you guys can just get to know these people. I'm just so blessed to be co-facilitating this session with them. So week stars, as usual, this session is for you. So I really want you to pay so much attention. This session, we're going to be talking about 360-degree leadership, leading where you are. And, just for me to start, I just want to first ask us a question, just something very basic. If I asked you now, who is the most influential person in your life right now? Just take a minute and think about it and just drop it in the chat box. You don't have to mention their names. Just give us maybe a teacher, a sister, my spouse, my wife, my daughter, whatever it is. Just put that in the chat box. And while you're thinking about that, I also want you at the back of your mind to think of how do they show up? If this person is influential, maybe like in terms of family or business or, as a friend or in school or at work, what makes them influential when you think about why you call them influential in your life right now? How do they show up? What is it that they do that makes you to label them as being influential? So I'm just going to look at the chat box. Don't overthink it, guys. The way we do this, right? Don't overthink it. Just tell us what makes this person influential to you right now in your life, family. Okay, family is influential to Olufunke. How do they show up? How does family show up that makes you think about them as being influential? Emanuela says mentor, they show up in work. Okay, I like that. So Lufunke says family. How does family, just in one line, what do they do that makes them influential? And Emanuela says mentor, they show up in work. That's really, really beautiful. I'm still waiting on other people to tell us, the most influential person in your life right now and what makes them influential. How do they show up? Spouse brings out the best in me always. Oh my goodness, that's so sweet. Right. Thank you, Tolulope. A spouse is the most influential person in our life right now. And because that person brings out the best in her always. I'm just in love with all the answers that are already dropping in the chat box. So as I said, don't take it too personal. Just anybody that comes to your mind right now. The person is influential in this season doesn't have to be the person is influential in the next season. But in this season you are in right now, who is that person? Lily says, my friend who doubles as my mentor, Dr. T. I don't know who Dr. T is. She says she shows up by putting me on my toes. Okay, thank you, Dr. T, for putting Lulu on her toes, but I really just love that, love all that we have in the chat box. So I'm actually going somewhere. You look at all these people who have been mentioned. I'm not seeing people mention some very big names I was looking out for, but anyways, we have all these people, and I'm sure that you guys will still continue to put in the chat box the most influential person in your life right now. And how do they show up that makes them influential, right? Very simple question. And I'm just going to move right on. And the reason why I asked that question is that you see some of the names we mentioned. Okay, I still see a couple coming in. Let me just read that. Oh my goodness. Tosin says, I think I'm the most influential person in my life right now. Bam. She's giving herself that accolade. I just love that twist right there. Tosin is the most influential person in Tosin's life right now. Dr. T is a big name. Okay, Lulu, we hear that. Olufunke says, when you get it right with family, then you go well with others that have you have their support to give you confidence. Thank you so much, Olufunke. The reason why I did ask us all these questions is because you see that we're not even saying, okay, I see another person. Oluwaseun says, my husband always building my confidence. And then Mommy Odunsi bringing out the best in me. I said, how can Mommy Odunsi not enter this chat box? Thank you, Oluwaseun. So all these names we mentioned, I didn't see, it is one very big, popular person out there. I didn't see someone that, that necessarily has a very big title or position. We're all mentioning people that are around us, people that they have access to us, people not necessarily in a place of authority, but people that their actions show us that they are influencing us one way or another. This workshop is 360-degree leadership, leading where you are. When I think about leadership, I think about leading a ship. You know, if you're leading a ship, right? And you know how big a ship is. And the Bible talks about all that you need to make the ship turn in a direction is that small rudder. It's a very small thing. As big as the ship is, it's not the body of the ship that makes the ship to turn. It is just one small thing. Just the way the Bible talks also about, like, as big as we are, you know, we have that very small member of our body, which is our tongue, that can either speak life or speak death. Right. So when I think about leadership, I think about leading a ship. If you're leading a ship and you don't want the ship to crash, right? Because I love anything about ocean, it's just that small thing that you know that the captain holds to turn the ship, that directs that ship in the direction the captain wants it to go. So when I think about leadership, I think of a focused action in the direction of a worthy purpose. There is something that someone wants to do that, you know, that they're putting all of their actions into just so that they can get to that end line. A leader is someone that knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. Everybody that we mentioned in the chat box today, they're not necessarily, you know, I'm not hearing Elon Musk. I mean, I'm not hearing all those big, I'm not even hearing our president's name. I'm not hearing all those, you know, hearing even our general overseers or our pastors. I'm not hearing, it doesn't mean they are not influential in our lives. But when you think about influence, influence is not the way the world makes it look. It starts from the small things. It's not about title, it's not about position, it's not about being, you know, having so much power and authority, but it's about the small actions that truly influence people. So, what does that tell us? It tells us that it starts where we are. Anyone around us can influence us, and that's the same way that we can also influence people around us. And I think that hinges on Matthew 5, verse 16, that says that let your light so shine before men, so that they may see thy good works and glorify your Father who is in heaven. You know what it doesn't say? It doesn't say, let your light so shine before men when you get married. It doesn't say, let your light so shine before men when you are 40. It doesn't say, let your light so shine before men when you make all the money. It says, let your light so shine before men. It does not talk about the time. It does not talk about the when. It just says, let it shine. Let everyone who comes in contact with you see the light of God shining through you so that they can give glory to your Father. So for those of us who are still waiting that, okay, when I clock 40 or when I get married, you know, I will be in that position. I will start influencing. I'll be the head of the home. I'll be the neck. I'll be the wife, and I'll start influencing. No, you don't wait until that time to start influencing. It starts right where you are. And that brings me to 360-degree leadership. Did you know we've already established that fact that leadership can start where you are? It can start through the actions that you do today. Did you know that you can lead in every direction? I so much love this concept of 360-degree leadership. I think it was John Maxwell that built this framework. And, you know, I thought about it as we were all coming to facilitate this session. There are so many frameworks that are out there. So many, you know, you have a lot. Let me never start mentioning frameworks of leadership. There are lots of people who are experts in leadership, but I still believe that some of us just miss the basics. Forget all these big grammar and these frameworks that are there. Yes, frameworks are good, but the basics is just leading in every direction. And to start doing that, it begins with leading within. I believe that it just builds upon one another. If you're able to be a good leader within, leading yourself, right? Just being true to yourself, then you can then move on to leading across. Meaning that at that point in time, you start influencing your peers, you know, you start through your collaboration with them. You start doing things that because you have led yourself so well, it's so easy for you to lead your peers and your friends. And then you can start leading down because now you are guiding your siblings, you are guiding your mentees, you know, you are people that look up to you. You are now becoming that person. And all of these things does not mention any title. Neither does it mention any form of position. It's just it flowing from you. You've mastered leading yourself so well that it can flow out of you into other people. And then you can now begin to lead up, adding value to your parents. As I always tell my teenagers, it gets to a point that you have to be the one to start adding value to your parents. You can start adding value to your bosses, to your mentors. That's what 360-degree leadership is all about. I'm not here to say too much. We are going to hear from the amazing panelists that they're just going to dig right into all these things that I'm just laying the foundation for them to build upon it. But that's just what 360-degree leadership is. So ask yourself, in what direction are you currently leading? Have you led yourself so well? Or did you even jump that step of leading yourself and you just jumped and you're like, oh, no, my boss at work, they never listen. Have you led yourself well enough to be able to influence leading up? Have you led across first? Are you that bossy friend that, I know everything, my friends don't know it all. My friends don't know anything. I know it all. Have you led so well in your family that qualifies you to be able to lead people outside, lead your mentors? Because yes, you can add value to your mentors. So think about it for a minute, like leading within, leading across, leading down, and leading up. Which aspects are you doing so well, and which aspect do you think you can do better in? And then moving to pillars of leadership, I always like to talk about these two pillars, just two pillars. Remember, I'm telling you guys, just the basics. I have people that will come and give you all the intricacies, but mine is just to lay a bit of a foundation. The pillar one, I think, about leadership is integrity. And it still boils down to leading yourself, leading within. At that point now, you have values. You have things that you've said, okay, these are my guardrails. When you're working on a staircase and you have those rails, your values are your guardrails. Without them, you cannot do anything. Your influence will collapse. It is your values that will not allow you to compromise in certain places. So pillar one, which is that integrity, is about living your values. You're walking the talk. Talk is cheap. Anybody can talk. Anyone, in today's world, everybody is a coach. Everybody, but you look at lifestyles, you're like, what you're saying does not necessarily match what you're doing. So when you see someone who has solidified this pillar of leadership, it means that they are living out their values. What they say aligns with what they do. Their character is the same thing. They lead with fairness and with justice. They are the same people offline and the same people online. What they do in private is what translates into what they do outside. Those people you mentioned earlier that you said they are the most influential people in your life, I believe that you've seen that integrity in them. You've seen that these people, they are not just chasing clouds, right? They are actually walking the talk. Remember, I said the leader is someone who knows the way, shows the way, and does the way. That is integrity. And then the second pillar is influence. Influence is just about you. Now you have this integrity, this pillar well solidified, and your influence is how you show up consistently. You are not doing like the waves that the Bible talked about. You're not like that lukewarm person. You're neither hot today nor cold tomorrow. You show up consistently. Yes, there are days it might be hard, and you could excuse yourself on those days that are hard, but the basic part of you shows up consistently, and you also serve others, because the people you mentioned, they served you one way or another. They did serve you, and that's influence. And as they're serving you, they're solving problems you have. You're bringing some things to them. Before you even mention, I have this thing, they're already even eager to, oh, how are you doing? Asking you questions. That is influence. That is leadership. And because they do all of this, it's so easy for trust to flow. When trust does not flow in leadership, everything crumbles. And when you do integrity and influence together so well, the result is impact. Many people are chasing impact today, but forgetting these two pillars. You cannot, I don't know what you build upon. There's no impact to be made if your integrity and your influence is it's shaky. Those foundations are shaky. When you build a house and you build the pillars and you lay solid foundation, this integrity and influence are the foundations you lay for leadership before you start asking for impact. Many people are asking for platform when they have not even solidified these two pillars. And then that impact begins to show. It shows in family, it shows in your career, and your professional life. It just flows out of you in your relationships, everything you do. That impact begins to show. You're going to hear from amazing people today about the impact. I'm telling you, these guys, I've been doing life with them for over 10 years now, altogether 10 years. And I'm telling you that their integrity and their influence has given them a lot of impact in all of these areas of their lives, that I feel so confident to say, I know you can talk to the weak stars because you walk the talk. That is what leadership is all about. And I thought about it. There's no way we talk about leadership without mentioning the styles of leadership. There are so many styles out there. As I told you, there are a lot of frameworks out there that when you think about leadership, you know that, okay, this person, there are experts that have said a lot. But I know, I mean, based on my own knowledge, there are like 6 styles of leadership that are very solid. You have the visionary leader. And the reason why I put this here is that I want you to see that there is no leader that does not have, like each of us have our natural styles that flows out of us, our natural style of leadership, right? But it doesn't mean that we cannot adapt in so many other situations. You have the visionary leader that sees the future, they inspire other people towards it. But sometimes they can forget the details and they can grow very impatient while they are leading people. You also have the servant leaders that they lead other people by serving them first. But sometimes as well, they can overextend or they avoid confrontation totally. Please, I want to be a servant. Let's just avoid every books. Then you can have the directive leader that they take charge and they give very clear directions. But for some people, they see it as, why are you controlling? Why are you very rigid? Like, does life hard? You also have collaborative leaders that they lead through inclusion. They want everybody on board, share decision making, but sometimes it can lead to slower decisions, and they also try to avoid conflict because they want everybody on board. They want everybody to agree together. You also have the hands-off leaders. Their hands are up. They trust people to lead them. So they're like, you're big enough. I don't have and I don't have to show you what to do. But sometimes as well, they may lack structure or even follow up with people, right? Because yes, we do need follow up. We do need to repeat a lot of things before we become experts in those things. Then you also have the coaching leaders. These ones will focus on growth and long-term development, but the results may take time and they can seem too slow. I want to see in the chat box, where do you think you fall? And again, let me add here that you might have like, you might be a blend of 3, 4 styles of leadership, but I want to see in the chat box, which one do you think you belong to? And there is no good, there is no bad to these leadership styles, right? And there is no perfect leadership style. As I just gave you some of the little pros and the cons of these leadership styles, I want to see in the chat box, where do you think you fall? Like, for you, which one, maybe like 2, 3, you might have like 3, 4. I mean, if you're good enough, you may even have all 6 together. If it's all 6, just tell me all 6. But I want to see it in the chat box. Okay, I see other things. All right. I want to see it in the chat box. See it in the chat box. Nobody's giving us anything in the chat box. Thank you for your previous messages. Chat box, where you can just put the number. You don't have to type it out. Maybe 124 126, 346, whatever it is. Okay, Tosin, thank you. Okay, Tomike. Oh, I see people. Tomike says directive and collaborative. Nice. I like that. You see yourself somewhere. Okay. Tosin says I'm a blend of visionary and directive. Nice. You see? Blend. Lolu says she's 4 and 6, collaborative and coaching. All right. I think, okay, for me, I see myself, I think I'm 2, 3, 4, 6. 2, 3, 4, 6. That's a lot. Yeah, Yano says collaborative, servant, visionary. All right, thank you. Okoyemi says servant and collaborative. All right, Emanuela, leadership and visionary primarily, would like to incorporate servant. I love that, Emanuela. Oluwaseun says 2 and 4, servant and collaborative. All right. Bumi says coaching and directive. All right. Olufunke says 1 and 4, visionary and collaborative. You see, so why did I put this here? Because I believe that there is no way we'll talk about leadership that we shouldn't talk about leadership styles, just briefly, so that you can see that your boss at work is not an enemy necessarily, right? Uni says servant, collaborative, and coaching. Thank you, Uni. Stephanie, yes, servant, collaborative, directive, and coach. Okay, myself and Stephanie are on the same chair. That's nice. Yes, Manuela, I agree. See the caliber of leaders in the room. We are all leaders. So I wanted to say that, your boss at work is not necessarily just trying to make your life so difficult, right? Sometimes it's just because we have not even understood our leadership style or even understood the leadership style of those that we work with. And then we tend to want to put everybody into a box. Your leadership style is not a box that you put yourself into. It's just for you to know this is your natural tendency, but you can still adapt. You can become a situational leader, a leader that based on the situation at hand, right? And I believe somehow that for you to be a situational leader, you have to tap into the power of the Holy Spirit to say, okay, how do you want me to respond in this situation? Because yes, situations are so different. So, but just putting this out there so that you can see that not necessarily, I know some people are out to get some people, but not everybody is necessarily out to get you. Just a difference in communication, a difference in understanding, just the way we have different temperament styles, the same way we have different leadership styles, different, a lot of styles for different people. That's why the Lord made us so unique. And each of us are masterpieces. Okay, I'll move on and I'll be rounding up shortly. No matter what your leadership style is, I want to drop this for you. Yes, we have all these leadership styles, but remember I said no one is good, no one is bad. Everyone, each of those styles have their own pros and their own cons. Whether you are visionary or directive, whatever you are, you still need to understand self-awareness. You need to have these essentials. Self-awareness is one thing because at that point now, you know yourself. You know what leadership style you are. You know what your natural tendencies are. And then if you're a visionary leader, and then you have someone that has a coaching style work with you, you don't necessarily have to force them to be that visionary leader, but you can find a way to make a blend, to know that everybody brings something to the table. Nobody shows up empty-handed. Everybody carries something in their hands. So self-awareness will allow you to know your strengths, your weaknesses, and your triggers. Emotional intelligence also will allow you to be able to read people. And when you read them, you can respond to them with empathy, not sympathy. You put yourself in their shoes and you're trying to understand the reason why they act the way they do. Leadership style, temperament style, personality styles, all these things all together. Integrity is one essential also. You have to be consistent in walking your talk. Because one day, no matter how much you do it and you think that, talk is cheap, you can just go out there and try to give people whatever. One day, as they always say in Yoruba, I have to say this in Yoruba, efiniwa. It says that character is smoke. Whether you like it or not, one day it's going to blow out. You cannot contain smoke in a room. So one day and or another, if you do not work on that thing that you need to work on, if you do not walk the talk, it's going to smell out eventually. Adaptability will allow you to know when to switch gears, meaning that you learn to become a situational leader. Now there's a situation on ground. How do you bring in divine wisdom to handle that particular situation, not just using your natural leadership style, right? Also, vision. No matter whatever leadership style you have to keep putting the why, the reason why you are doing whatever. If you're in business, if you're in academics, whatever role that you play, whatever place you stand on, right? You have to keep putting that why in front of your team. Oh, this is the reason why we are doing this. This is the reason why I'm serving. And that ties to purpose. This is the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. You want your team to always see that why. And of course, communication, you want to be able to communicate clearly, honestly, finding the timely words. Like I think I read something about like let the underperformers know they are underperforming. And let those who are doing so well also know that they are doing so well. Those words will keep trust alive because you are not trying to be like a wave that is unstable. Humility as well, staying teachable because leadership is never about ego. We all have different styles. One who is down today can be a very influential leader tomorrow. And again, people, you have to understand that leadership is about people. That's what Jesus modeled when he was on earth. It was about the people. We don't take any other thing to heaven except the people. The people are the only people that get to make heaven. The clothes, the wealth, whatever we amass does not follow us anywhere. We only take people home to heaven. So you want to nurture people's potential and help them to create a culture of trust, collaboration, and motivation. That's what leadership is about. Whether you are visionary or you are servant, or it's about the people. It's about nurturing people's potential and helping them to be who God has called them to be. All of these essentials work for every leadership style. So please never forget that. And in conclusion, as I told you, it's going to be a very short talk for me because we are going into the panel session. I want you to know yourself. Just know your style and learn to adapt. Don't think you have it all figured out. Like life always shows us these curveballs and we're all learning. So know yourself and don't think that yourself is just that person that has to remain on that IELTS. Learn to come off your IELTS because you have to stay teachable if you want to grow. You have to commit to being a lifelong learner. And also you have to pursue intentional growth. There is no leader who thinks they've gotten to the peak of their leadership journey. Leadership is a continuous journey. It never ends. Some of the people that, that we look up to, models, like role models and everything, they are constantly growing. John Maxwell is one of my very great mentors I listen to almost every day. He's constantly improving himself in ways, how can I serve people better? You have to pursue intentional growth. Every strength has a shadow side, so you want to develop balance. I told you each style has the pros and the cons. So in pursuing intentional growth, it can help you to, tone down those weaknesses, lay them at the feet of the Master Jesus, and also be able to pick up the strength of other styles until you become so much better. And at the same time, also leading gracefully. Leadership is not about control. It's not about controlling or dishing out instruction, even for those of us who are parents or we have younger ones. It's not about dishing out instructions. It's about contribution, significance, impact, legacy. This is what leadership is about. Those who have, one of the greatest leaders that ever lived, Mahatma Gandhi, if you read up his story, you see a lot. This guy was as basic as anything. He didn't need a stage, he didn't need a pulpit, he didn't need a platform to influence lives, but he did. He influenced a lot of lives just by what he believed in and teaching people how to walk in those paths. So let go of the control and be more of a contributor. And I want you to take this away from John Maxwell. It says you can't lead others if you don't first understand yourself. Understanding yourself is key to being to doing a 360-degree leadership. And I want to thank you for joining us in this workshop first, right, before we move into the panel session. So I'm just gonna, and okay, yes, I want you guys to know that I didn't just want to give you all of this theory, just come here and just give you theory. It's so easy, and the talk is cheap, right? And it's so easy to put things together, put slides together and just talk to people about it. But I want you to hear from a particular group of people that I've done life with for the past 10 years plus, that they taught me everything that, most of the things that I am today was because I had to learn from these people. They influenced my life in so many ways, all directions. And I thought that when you hear their stories, you'll be able to take one or two things away. And I don't just want you to hear their stories. I want you to pick out the principles behind why they do what they do. Yes, pick out those principles, because your stories might be different, but the principles, sometimes you can apply them in any season of life that you are in.